The Interdimensional Voyagers, a podcast. Structures in the forest. Night by light, in depth not seen, but a secret day to watch them wait is to dream. A simple tale, too long to say, with many a claw and tooth, no hood to hide. It's red, my Luna. It's red by day, for Hecate in cast. It changes, but fuller by night, heard to scream, a howl indeed. Forget you not, they bay a call. In the trees, material under does fall, intertwined through sticks and twists, made for purpose, no man knows time. A simple line, a twined design. Century markers may guide a path. From below they come from below. In age is waiting, in lines and an army calls. Their gods no halo, about to be taken below. Wolf fall. Century silent, for centuries built. These teepee markers, these boundaries built. Follow lest you know the beast, the ones that live, the ones that breathe. They hide in trees. 3 weapons they hold. Here be truth, the watcher, the scout, small for large, a body it brings, and black has ears of spikes and eyes of black, yet white aglow. Be seen, it knows, it follows you back. A warning to you, don't venture forth past the sticks, the branches, applied and weaved, pyramids in shape of houses. Dogman's day have come again, with paste to feed and run away. The weapons grow in graver form, too rare in statute, but real in thought. Where from such looks of horror, with despair, it stands to feast. Run when seen, run swift and quick. From this beast 'tis a slip, a shadow mistook. God's nature known, not to have made this creature, standing 7+ and broad of stature. Its body as man, but covered in hair, black as obsidian, at their intent despair. Its face a frightening glare, claws it bears, the eyes glow red, fire, a burning heart for man has desire, and yearning fear for more this time, yearning it hears within your heart, the beat. They come too far now. Hear the beast so very near. The smile it draws, we feed the beast, with fright indeed, to flight, to run but weak. I fight to flee, to go it holds us, still and looks continuous, deep to kill. But enough it needs only intent, enough to mark and leave. Its vent so much. Now a warning for all of you, take heed. Take care the path as it shows a sign, the sticks and branches all entwined, teepee houses, dens to lean, that lead us closer to those the souls the Dogman army grows. Wait, they do into the earth, the trees, the leaves in shadow, not freed, but songs are sung as time passes on, commands to wait, but still as night, they can run and roam, inquisitive creatures, as they venture near to my home, my home. Sometimes a message gets across in a clearer fashion when spoken in a rhyming form, and to be honest, I am intrigued and enjoy the art of poetry in equal measure. I hope you enjoy the short verse too. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to hear another sometime. Okay, now, very recently I had a comment left by a follower. It was, and I quote, "How do we know if it's people, kids, or wild things making these?" He was talking about teepee structures, wooden structures in forests and woods that you may yourself have come across. He said, "I found a few out in local woods. But I also found a small teepee years ago that I don't think was human made. Just wondering if there's any way to tell. This is a great question, and one that is at the back of any inquiring mind on the subject of teepee and den structures found in woods and forests in the UK and other countries. Firstly, I would like to describe what these structures look like briefly. Teepee branch structures are made from branches and sticks of different sizes that are layered into each other and supported with between 2 or 4 crossbeam larger branches. Quite often these structures are utilising existing supporting framework of living trees or fallen trees. So what is built is surprisingly sturdy. Teepee shaped wooden structure that has an entrance, usually triangle pyramid shaped entrance. They are built as a shelter. Are they built as a shelter? Bushcraft is common practice in forests, or could it be a hide for hunting or twitching, bird watching? The evidence I've documented doesn't indicate those purposes. Surely if built as either shelter or hide, wouldn't a structure being made be proposed for bad weather conditions? The thought of sheltering in the forest to sleep, rest or look out when it rains, or when the wind gets up and the weather's cold, these structures don't offer any protection to the occupants. They would get cold and wet, and all in all quite miserable. I've documented, and I have hundreds of videos and photos. All have been the same build type, and the same type of build as in how they're put together. This brings me into an extraordinary way which they are constructed. Right, first of all, they find the support, a large branch protruding from a tree, strong enough to support branches leaned against it. Now it's going to be 360 degrees round. If no support already available, then they will be built self-standing. Then you have to scour the floor, the forest floor, for branches large enough to support the framework of a freestanding teepee. To walk in, sometimes they are smaller. Some of these teepees are a lot smaller, almost miniature. But in another episode I should talk about that. After looking on the forest floor, this would take a long time for the supporting branches. They are placed perpendicular to each other, not tied together, only fitted carefully in place. This is where the shape of the branches is important. I find the majority of teepees are far from hastily thrown together, but indeed more slotted together with care. This means utilising the natural shape of each branch, so as they fix together, they are creating a sound frame. Next, further branches and sticks are needed to create walls around the teepee. Again, all of these are to be foraged from the ground. Why is this? If it's a shelter, and say bushcraft, why would you forage on the floor? It would take such a long time, and you'd have to cover quite a large area to find all of these branches and sticks. It would be easier to actually, with a saw, chop branches to shape, to use. Especially if you know that you're in the woods, you're going to use it as a shelter, and night time's coming and you want to get done quickly. But no, these things are not put together that way at all. They're all material that is used as dead wood, or sometimes wood that has been there so long it's dried out. An awful lot of the time and effort has been put in to muster together the wood. For what reason, this trouble, I don't know. Sometimes the wood has been quite mossy. I've mentioned earlier it would be far more quicker and less effort, let alone cleaner, to cut the wood fresh to use. So the smaller material collected is then used to form the walls of the teepee. The sticks and smaller branches are not just leaned from floor to top support. This is not a structure built in a hurry, as I said, or to stand just one night. It's not built as a disposable unit, basically. These things are built and they last. I've seen teepees in the forests and woods where they've been there for quite some time, years even, and they've survived with the rain, the wind, winters, and they've still survived. Regardless of the strong and intricate build, no twine or rope is used in these structures. And the previous question asked earlier on by my follower is, how do we know if it's people or kids? The most important part is missing. Whoever or whatever makes these, if it's bushcraft or scouts that have done all of the ones I documented, they're wrong. So they built them wrong, I believe. The reason for that is they're not fit for purpose. You know why? In the UK anyway, we have a very changeable weather patterns. So basically, why would you build something that is quite obviously not weatherproof or windproof? It would make for quite a miserable night sleeping. There wouldn't be any point in building these things. If you're seeking protection from the elements, wind, rain, these teepees offer none. And they are made that way. Why? I don't know. That is what makes me believe they are not made by people or kids. I'm not saying bushcraft shelters aren't made by people and kids, scouts, such. Because there are. But they are quite recognisable. For a start, they'll be weathered. They'll use on the roof either ferns, leaves, mixture of soil, compacted with leaves, to make some kind of a insulated covering, so it protects you a little bit from the elements. Another idea asked is, are they hides used for hunting or twitching, as it were, bird watching? Again, I would say no. After much research, usually hides are on higher ground and not so far away from known wildlife paths and trails. The point to hide is to hide, basically. So why these are usually on low ground, and the opening to these structures, the part you actually walk into, are open facing the trails. So surely if there was anything, any animal, creature, bird, it would see you and just would fly away or go away, wouldn't be there. There's another anomaly I have found with these strange teepee structures. They always seem to have at least one or two logs. Now, what I mean by this, I mean the parts of a thick, wide trunk. And these are left in these structures as, what can I say, stools, seats. Now they're not. I've never found on these any cut marks or burn marks or blade marks. So they've not been used for preparing food or for anything else. And nearly every teepee structure I found, they've always had these inside. Very odd. So what else? Well, the teepee structures I've come across, some, not all, especially the large ones, have what I can only describe as courtyards, or a meeting place. I'll explain, and that will bring me into the next possibility, and that is your portals. Okay, before you think, oh really, let me explain. Okay, I came across a structure shaped teepee. It's kind of a large one, branch built, about 4 meters high, a round footprint to the teepee, of steep walls, freestanding, not using any braces from a tree for support, and a triangle shaped entrance. From the entrance, running left to right, are tree trunks. Now these are fallen tree trunks, but not cut down, not recently anyway. Definitely they were fallen. These are placed carefully in a line, defining a semicircle, almost like a seating area, facing the doorway of the large teepee. The odd thing is there was no stumps around. So if the trunks had fallen in the wind, or even been chopped down, let's say chopped down, the majority of them looked as if they'd fallen. But if they had, where from? Because there was no remnants of a stump in the ground from which they came. What was the purpose of all these laid out in a semicircle? Was it seating? Some kind of weird auditorium? That the logs being placed there? It was obviously a boundary of some sort. The thing is, I'm talking about a forest, and it's a long way in. It's not just 2 minutes into a forest, bang, there you go. It was a long way in, this was. There is also something unique about finding one of these forest, let's call it auditorium. The burns. Now what I mean by that, in and amongst the area are pieces of trees, branches, short thick pieces, which have been scorched so badly that the wood is split. It's black and cracked, but there are many of these littering the inner circle of the surrounding logs, and yet no fire pit or stones built up to contain a fire needed to burn large pieces of wood to the extent of creating charcoal. No scorching on the ground, no leaves burnt, nothing. I've not found many of these areas. I would say half a dozen in different forests and woods, usually a long way, about an hour and a half hike in such a remote area. This layout has one really unusual clue as well left behind, and that is electromagnetic fluctuations. It's unexpected to pick up magnetic fields. I would have thought deep in a forest or woods with no power lines about or evidence of any obvious source for this anomaly to be seen, I have found that these isolated teepee structures do have a magnetic field. Not all, but definitely younger, newer built structures do have. Now, I can't account for this, but I have tested it and videoed the results. Inside the structure, the K2 meter, a magnetic field detector, which is used a lot by ghost hunters. This placed outside a structure, it shows and detects by lighting up a bunch of lights from green, low reading, to red, meaning, well, there's a strong magnetic field. I've had results from yellow to red, when logically there should have been no lights at all, hence no fields, no magnetic fields. But the interesting part is it lights up when inside the structure. The lights go out again outside of this. which I find very interesting. And you can see my results on my YouTube channel, which is Dogman Teepee Hunting. I've also found similar results with taking temperature readings. Using a laser probe meter, surprisingly, I have had results that show the temperature within a structure has been on average 2 degrees C below the average ambient temperature outside of the structure. I can't account for this as well, considering no insulation of any type is used. They are just weaved and carefully placed branches and sticks only to build, so why the magnetic field and lower temperatures inside? I shall investigate further into the strange structures found in forests. Teepees are not the only ones. There is others. But I shall go into that another time, in another episode. If you would like more visual update, I regularly upload videos of cryptid related content in woods and forests, and some ghost content as well. If you'd like to check out my channel, it's Dogman Teepee Hunting on YouTube. And if you have had any experiences of the strange or unexplained and you would like to share or just discuss privately, please contact me in the comments, or my email is cot.pj@hotmail.co.uk. I'll put details in the description. Thank you for joining me. Please like and follow. Also share the channel, as this really helps to bring more content that you may enjoy. You have been listening to the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast.